Or blackout, or?
I reckon so.
This is what you want to see when you're coming up from a dive. So if the worst thing happens and you black out, your buddy's there to save you. In this episode, you're going to see how a good and effective dive buddy system can literally save a life. Not only is it far safer, but working as a team with your mates, you're going to land more fish. You're going to find more fish and you're just going to have more fun.
Good fish, mate. You!
It's a shame I didn't have the camera, hey?
Good fish.
The conditions we had this day were awesome. We had 25 plus meters visibility. There wasn't a whole lot of action at the start of this drift, but by the time we got to the end, I dropped down on this bommy and boy oh boy, there was some fish on it. Had a nice little black spot tusk fish swimming in, but there was some good snappers sitting off in the distance, so I was holding off and hoping a big knobby would swim in. Just off in the distance there, I noticed a really nice black spot, probably around the 7 or 8 kilo mark. He was pretty far away though, so I didn't have much chance of getting him in for a shot. I held off on shooting anything, just so I can give my dive buddy a better chance of shooting one of those better fish down there.
It's going off. Big fish, big tusky, snapper, jobbies, everything. Adam, you mark the spot.
Heading down for my second drop on this spot. Now, I'm really looking for that big black spot tusk fish. Those things are my favourite fish to eat. They are absolutely delicious. Had this big school of barracuda swim in overhead. These things aren't very good to eat, so I'm just going to leave them be. Had this nice little coronation trout pop his head up. Now, I was hoping he'd come in for a look, but he was far too clever for me. He was gone.
Yeah, some good fish, just the better ones are sitting away.
Those big fish over your head.
Barracuda and a kingy.
I could see them from the surface, I didn't know what they were.
There's Coro there as well. Oh, if you want. There's better fish there though.
The dive buddy system we're using today is one person diving, one person watching him, and the other person in the general area breathing up for the next dive. When the person who just dived gets back to the surface, he lets everyone else know what's going on down there, where to find the fish, what he saw. Now on this dive, I come down on top of this really big gold spot wrasse. These things are so clever, really, really soft, so you need to get a pretty good shot in them to have a chance of landing them, because they tear off so easy. A great way to close the gap on tricky reef species is to use the cover. So I'm getting down nice and low in amongst these bommies to give me a better chance at getting a nice shot on this fish. As he took off, I noticed a nice little mangrove jack sitting under this ledge. So I thought, why not? These things are delicious. This one's coming home for dinner. Now, at about this point, my mask actually started to flood. So water was rushing in through the bottom of the mask, filling up my nostrils and running down the back of my throat. Not a great feeling. Right here, I'm trying not to vomit everywhere. Yeah, not a great feeling. But anyway, I ended up landing the jack. And guys, I just wanted to emphasize that things can go wrong when you're spearfishing. While the mask flooding is only a minor incident, what was about to happen to Danik was so much worse. This is the dive I took just before the incident occurred. I'm laying on the bottom, just spearfishing as usual. From just behind the rock, a nice little jobby pokes its head up. I give the rock I'm laying on a few little scratches, and that seems to get his interest, but not for long as he darts back away. Then I throw up a bit of sand, and that works an absolute treat. He comes straight back in. While I was dealing with my job fish and dispatching it, taking it back over to the boat and reloading and everything, Adam and Danik were diving together, and that's when the incident occurred. As I was making my way back over to them, Dan, who was boaty at the time, yelled out, "Samba! Samba!" So I hightailed it over as fast as I could.
Alright. Who was it?
Me.
Is it full blackout or?
I reckon so. Yeah, he made it about 5 metres from the surface.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, my fin snapped. Apparently they don't supposed to snap. Oh my
And
God.
the gun, and we don't know where the gun is. I mean, I didn't even think of the gun when I seen you mark it
Don't
out.
worry about it.
No. You gotta drop your belt if something like that happens, man. Try and drop your belt.
I seen you using your hand to help you up, so I thought, oh, I'll keep a good eye on you.
Oh, lucky Adam.
That's different.
Alright.
I'm hooked up.
Oh, are ya?
I shot a tusky and it put me into the ledge, and then Derek's come down to try and untangle it. And I can see the gun, there's heaps of tuskies hanging around too.
Yep.
Do you want me to try and untangle this, or do you want to go down and have see if there's any fish to shoot? Because there's a few hanging around.
Oh, I was gonna go get that gun.
Yeah, right.
Do you want to dive first? I'll watch you and then I'll dive.
Yeah, right.
So Danik blacked out 5 metres from the surface after his fin snapped while he was on the bottom. Make no mistake, guys, if Adam wasn't there watching him, we would have been looking for a body. That's how important having a dive buddy is. So Adam did his dive and recovered his black spot. Now it was my turn to go down and recover Danik's gun. I was really hoping there were going to be 2 good fish down there to shoot, so I could shoot a fish with Danik's gun and then take another fish with my gun. That would have been pretty cool. But unfortunately, there were only some of the more undesirable species. But anyway, we got Danik's gun back, Adam recovered his black spot, and we were about to shoot some really good fish for the rest of the afternoon. Unfortunately for Danik, he is finished for the day. Once you black out, the risk of another blackout is much higher. So after we made sure Danik was all good, he didn't take in any water at all, he was only out for about 5 seconds, we continued spearfishing. While I'm laying on the front edge of this reef, I spot a nice job fish off in the distance. I give the rock a little scratch and he comes straight in. I wasn't that confident in the shot, it didn't look that good, so I played it really lightly, but unfortunately that let him wrap me around that rock. But then things got even worse. My muzzle wrapped, so I had to use my belt reel to attach to my gun and get to the surface. Now, if you're going to use a reel gun, you need to have a belt reel, just for situations like this.
Jobby. Yeah, it's wrapped up on the bottom.
Is the fish still on there or not?
Yeah, it's still on there.
Dan, being an amazing dive buddy, went down to retrieve my job fish.
Look at my spear tip.
Oh, what you? Oh, no.
Went through him and hit the rock. Do you have a file on your boat?
Oh, I don't know.
Thanks Dan, sorry about your spear. Dan somehow managed to put a good sharp point back on his spear with a pair of pliers. Luckily he did, otherwise he might not have landed this beautiful jewfish. This thing went 18.3 kilo. exceptional fish for this area.
Good fish, mate. You!
It's a shame I didn't have the camera, hey?
Good fish. Nice.
Not long after, Adam did a drop down on this nice Spanish. I took the next dive and came across these 2 kingfish. They didn't want anything to do with me, so I used a little trick to bring them in. For certain species such as yellowtail kingfish, you can make little grunting noises with the back of your throat. The other trick I was doing was moving my flopper around on the tip of my spear, so if the flopper catches a bit of light, it'll get them interested. Now, this kingfish was only about 12 kilos, but that was still enough to give me a bit of grief. This thing did about 5 laps around me and got me all tangled up. If anyone knows a better way to subdue a big kingy, I would love to know. Let me know in the comments. We did another drift on that same patch of reef. We really wanted to find that big school of jewfish that Dan shot that nice fish out of. He saw fish around the 30 kilo mark in that same school, so we were trying really hard to find them again. On the next drop, I thought I saw some really big mangrove jacks off in the distance. But as the fish turned, I noticed a big white dot on the tail, and yeah, they were red bass. Just one of these days, it's gonna be a big mangrove jack. It's sort of like my goal for this year was to find and shoot a big mangrove jack, but we'll see what happens. There's time left in the year. Well, the goal for this episode was to stress the importance of having a good dive buddy and working in a good and effective dive buddy system. So I hope you got that, guys, and please dive safe out there. If you enjoyed the episode or you got anything out of it, I'd appreciate you hitting that like button. It does help me out, and if you want to see more episodes like this, guys, hit that subscribe button too. Cheers for watching. Bye.